Global retail giant Walmart's technology arm Walmart Global Tech says India remains a growing market for the company, adds that it is closely looking at ideas from the Indian market that it can implement in its markets in other countries. In an exclusive chat with CNBC TV 18's Ritu Singh, Walmart Global Tech's SVP of Retail Tech Platforms and country head Vasudev says the company is aggressively building its India team, which he called the tech brain of Walmart globally. Take a look.
We have always believed in going where the talent is. For us, which is in India, right? So for us, India is essentially a talent play. And so what we are engaged in doing is to basically build our teams by hiring the best and the brightest across all the different levels of talent. So we are hiring senior architects, principal architects, senior principal engineers. We also hire a lot from the campus. We do a lot of lateral hiring. And the idea is not just to focus on technology alone, but to build cross-functional teams that are fairly independent and can take on a lot more ownership and accountability. Yeah. So, to that extent, we have invested a lot in hiring not just engineers, but data scientists, designers, product managers, program managers. Okay. So if we can create a team that can come together and understand the problem, work with the business teams in the rest of the globe, but then build solutions for our customers across the world.
So speaking of cross-functionality, through Walmart's investments in Flipkart and PhonePe and Myntra, etc., what is the kind of work that Walmart Global Tech is doing for these companies and with these companies?
Yeah, so that's very interesting, right? Our approach to Flipkart and PhonePe has been that we're really letting them focus a lot on the India market, and we want them to really, focus on that market. It's a growing market. Yeah. At the same time, we look at opportunities where we can leverage ideas and cross-pollinate some ideas, right? One example is that we've taken some of the work that PhonePe has done, and while we've not directly taken the work, we've looked at the ideas that they have applied, building, financial inclusion solutions on top of an interface like UPI. Yeah. And we're in the process of building similar products and services through our Cashy product in Mexico.
What are some of the retail trends that have been emerging, and especially post the pandemic when the space has really gotten a huge push?
Yeah, I think a lot of, so if I were to look at about 2 or 3 very specific trends, right? One is obviously the ubiquitous use of AI and ML across all aspects of our business. So today, whether it's in the supply chain, whether it's in our warehousing systems, whether it's in the last mile logistics, whether it's in picking by our store associates for online grocery orders, whether it's in search and personalization, even in the use of building enterprise-wide solutions, solutions for our associates in the stores, we use AI and ML extensively. Another interesting trend that we've noticed more and more is it's no longer about going to the store or doing e-commerce. It's not about 2 disjointed separate experiences anymore. It's about an omni-channel experience where, it can start at the house with e-commerce or the Walmart app, but it can end up at the store. Another interesting example that's, we've seen a lot of traction with, particularly post the pandemic, is people used to come to the stores, right, and they started to return to the stores, but they're also doing a lot of online shopping. Now, if you take the example of apparel, when I'm in the store, I can go to the trial room, I can try on clothes. If I'm online, there's a huge challenge, right? How do I do that? So we've introduced virtual try-on. Yeah. So we used AR very effectively, and we rolled out something called Choose Your Model. So the idea is when you're shopping for apparel, we created about 30 different avatars, if you will, based on body types, skin tones, other attributes, which allowed you to pick the right model to try the clothes on.
Well, digital banking infrastructure enabler Signzy recently raised 210 crore rupees or $26 million from Gaja Capital and its existing investors, Vertex Ventures and Akram Ventures, in the latest funding round. Now, the Bangalore-based fintech SaaS company plans to use this capital to enhance its no-code workflow digitization platform and solutions as it targets a greater adoption of its platform by a global banking and financial services clientele. Ankit Ratan, Signzy CEO and co-founder, is with us now to talk about this latest round of funding and the company's plans ahead. Ankit, welcome on the show. Thanks very much for being here on Startup Street. Congratulations on this latest round of fundraising. Give us a sense of, what the company is now valued at.
Thank you so much for having me on the show. I think I may be bad with my maths, but I think we would be at roughly around 125 million.
I see. $125 million is where the company is valued at. Now, you've said that you plan to use...
Yeah, with the... Sorry.
Go
with
ahead.
The yeah, with the dollar INR thing happening, I think nobody has real hands on what what's the exact number.
Yes, it is changing every day. But, how will you use this fresh capital to enhance your, platform and solutions, perhaps look at new geographies as well?
Yeah, I think what we have been able to prove and I think see is that Signzy has been able to replace very critical systems within the financial services using a no-code approach, which was a bold, brave thing because financial institutions generally have been building tools with very, very large tech companies. So I think we've been able to prove that. And I think we'll be investing more in, of course, the product and technology to even go further inside banks and then spend that money to create adoption not only in India, but outside India, specifically US.
Okay, so we'll get back to that. But, within India, overall, of course, you're working with about 240 financial institutions. In India, which are the banks that you're currently engaged with? And do you have plans to expand there as well? Look at partnerships with more NBFCs, onboard more partners?
Yeah, we work with almost all large banks, the top six by AUM. We work with all of them. But what we believe is that we've just hit the tip of the iceberg, and we've been able to prove a point, which is that banks can also adopt no-code technology. I think the real goal or the real win will be to replace more and more systems. I'm sure US consumers understand that, banks are still not like fintechs. And I think Signzy's real focus is how to actually really drive this adoption fast so banking experience for all its users can be like fintech experiences.
We'd read earlier that the company has plans to release UPI AutoPay, eNash in the next 6 months. What is the update on that front?
I'm not sure of that, maybe some other company, but at least our focus is on...
I think, Ankit, it was on your company's website, if I'm not wrong.
Maybe a blog on that would have been there, but we ourselves are not payments player. We are focused on operational automation, which means that onboarding journeys around, let's say, when you're getting a new product, when you're getting recommended for a new product. So today, I'm sure you get hundreds of emails from a bank for all its XYZ products. Signzy's goal is to make it more focused on you, more targeted on you, the same way as a Google and Facebook would do, using the bank's data versus this, manual, semi-manual approach that banks are taking to their end consumers.
All right, got that. Could you also give us a sense of the regions which are seeing the fastest growth for the company? UAE, for instance, that's been a focus area where you said you'd almost triple your growth. What are the other some such regions where you're seeing faster growth?
Yeah, I think outside India, both in MENA and Southeast Asia, because of course the base is low, the growth is very, very fast. Similar problems. Banks need to upgrade their technology. Because you cannot hire expensive tech talent, no code is the only way to kind of go forward. I know it's too technical for this maybe show and session, but that's a topic in itself. And I think that's what we are seeing across more and more geographies. In US, I think it's very, very early days. So I think the growth is not what's important to us. What is important to us that we are getting logos. We are being able to, we have already added about 7 customers in US. And our goal is to build a strong logo base in US to kind of really use that as a base to do a aggressive GTM.
We've been seeing an accelerated shift towards digital transactions across industries because of the pandemic over the last few years. Now, given Signzy's digital onboarding and automated compliance solutions, what has this meant in terms of growth for you? And if you could also give us a roadmap of, what kind of growth you envisage in the short to medium term for the company.
Yeah, I think one thing which is very interesting is happening is that banks, whether they want it or not, have to move away from purely branch-based banking to a user-first digital banking. And what that has meant, and of course, it's shown in the number of transactions consumers are doing digitally. But what that has meant is that the current operative teams, they have like level 1 in branch, level 2 in operations, is no longer relevant. What you really need is an AI-based engine centrally sitting in the bank, taking in all the data, and maybe giving the kind of value addition, advice, and recommendation as these manual teams would have done. So Signzy's goal is kind of to become that engine for the bank and do it through a no-code approach, so that banks don't take years to get there, but can get there within weeks and months.
All right. Thank you so much for your time. And, we've come to an end of this discussion, but we wish you all the very best, with that latest round of fundraising and your plans ahead. On that note, Shruti, it's back to you.
Thank you. And with that, it's a wrap on this edition of Startup Street. More news and updates coming up on the other side. Stay tuned.